response, but go ahead.
So, Kayleigh, yesterday when the president said, get rid of the ballots, there won't be a transfer, frankly, there'll be a continuation. Which particular ballots is he talking about wanting to get rid of, and why does he think that would help him get elected?
The president wants to get rid of mass mail-out voting, and that's not because he said clearly that that could go either way. It could damage either candidate's chances because it's a system that's subject to fraud. In fact, in the last 24 hours, police in Greenville, Wisconsin found mail in a ditch, and it included absentee ballots. And also, I can confirm for you that Trump ballots, ballots for the president, were found in Pennsylvania, and I believe you should be getting more information on that shortly. Here in the last 24 hours, they were found cast aside.
So why in the past hour did the president tweet out, vote by mail ballots in my home state of Florida begin going out today, make sure to request yours, fill it out, and send it in?
The president has always made the distinction that absentee ballots, where you go through a process where you request a ballot and you mail that in, that is a system that works, but a system where you mass mail out to voter rolls, which are not kept and maintained, where in Los Angeles County, for instance, you have 120% of the county enrolled. That system is untenable. It doesn't work. It leads to what we saw in Nevada, where there were ballots languishing in trash cans and pinned to apartment boards.
Okay, and finally, today FBI Director Wray testified on the Hill that he has not seen historically any kind of coordinated national voter fraud effort in a major election, whether it's by mail or otherwise. So if the president's own FBI director says this isn't a problem, why does the president keep saying it is?
Well, as Attorney General Barr has said, we've never had an election where we've done mass mail-out voting like this before. I would point you to a bipartisan study done by none other than Jimmy Carter, who said that these mail-in votes remain the largest source of potential fraud. And he even cited an example of a 1997 Miami mayor election that resulted in 36 arrests for absentee ballot fraud. That election had to be rerun and the results were reversed. That is an example from 1997, but there are many others like Patterson, New Jersey, where 4 men were charged with voting fraud recently. 4 more men were charged in California, and there's a ton of examples. I could get you an encyclopedia of fraudulent examples we've had.
These ballots are going out. If the president does win, will he still think it was rigged and fraudulent?
I've already answered this question. Yes.
Thank you, Kayleigh. I wanted to go back to mail-in voting for just a bit. Right now, 5 states conduct elections entirely by mail-in prior to the pandemic with no cases or no major cases of fraud. Does that success not give the president confidence in mail-in voting?
So those states have had time and a history of doing having a workable system, and one that has been done for many years, for many election cycles, to move the entire country to mass mail-in voting all at once and have an entirely new system, and do that in just a few short months is an untenable and an unworkable proposition, and one that has shown to not work well at all, especially when you look at the disenfranchisement, which I think is really troubling when it comes to mass mail-in voting. In 2016, you had 1% of ballots thrown out, absentee ballots, that amounted to 319,000 votes thrown out. And if you have the entirety of the country voting by mail, you can imagine that number would be many folds higher than that. And you look just in the primary, where you've seen states try to move to this mass mail-in system. There were 100,000 ballots rejected in California, in New York City. 1 in 5 mail-in ballots were rejected. And as a former DOJ voting rights official said, it's nuts. That is just way too high when 1 in 5 voters, because of mass mail-in voting, have their ballots thrown out.
You said it's a
Yes.